end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the there's no place to hide. I'm burning in the this is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the there's no place to hide. I'm burning in the this is the final
You know, after I went live earlier with that debate that Nick Fuentes was in, I ended up getting all these comments on my video from the fans of the obviously not gay leftist. And what they did was they assured me, they were like, Carla, Dean is in a committed relationship with a woman and they are in a sexual relationship. I was like, I don't need to know who that kid's having sex with. First of all, I really don't need to know who that kid is having sex with. Like, for reals. But I also just am not totally bought into the fact that that kid isn't gay. I mean, listen, man, listen. And again, I don't care if people are gay. I love gay men. I love gay men and gay men love me. At least half, if not more, of the men who watch my videos are gay. I am a fag hag of the highest order. I do not care if men are gay. I'm just saying that I spent some time looking at Dean's Twitter page today, and I spent some time looking at his Instagram page, and I'm just saying that Dean comes across as kind of gay. I'm not judging. I don't care if he's gay. I'm just saying that it comes across as kind of gay. Like, bro. Listen, when you are around as many gay men as I am, the fag hag, not fag hag, the gaydar, that's what I'm looking for. The gaydar starts to, my intuition meshes with the gays. We know. Everyone knows. I'm just saying. So, I had people talking about this kid to me in my feed ever since the stream earlier. And so then I started looking around at him, and I started looking at him crying in his Twitter feed over the debate, and he was like saying, oh, the white supremacists are out to get me. And he was threatening to delete his Twitter account over it, and he was like just like having, like he did not have a good day. Definitely not gay Dean did not have a good day. And you know what? That is not Nick's fault. It is not Nick Fuentes' fault that this kid didn't prepare. I understand this kid is like 20 years old and definitely not gay, but when you are entering in to internet nonsense and you sign up for a debate with Nick Fuentes and you don't do the bare minimum to prepare, I just think that it was his own fault. And so I've just been sitting here kind of like going through this kid's Twitter feed and like laughing and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Can I just watch that Jubilee episode? Because it was the Jubilee episode, I think, that started all of this. And so I haven't seen this, and it's late night, and I don't know how much of this we're going to get through, but apparently this kid who is definitely, absolutely not gay, he debated like 20 Trump supporters. So let's just see how he did, shall we? Let's just see how he did. This is late night stream. We're all going to be chill, right? It's not going to be any bullshit. It's not going to be any nonsense. Everyone's just going to be chill, and we're going to have a good old time. All right, let's see what happened.
My first claim is Donald Trump is a racist.
Yeah, so I don't understand how people get this idea that Trump is racist. You know, my family came from a communist country. They came from Cuba, and they came from Mexico. So I don't see anything or any statement that he's ever made that's racist. I mean, there's accusations, but there's no facts behind it.
Hey, good to
and this
see you,
whole
Nathaniel.
idea that all Hispanics are illegal immigrants and they came here undocumented is not true, because my family came here on both sides through the legal immigration process, not illegally here.
Okay, so that was a bold claim. You just said that, you know, there's no facts to substantiate the idea that Donald Trump is going to be a racist. So in the 1970s, there's civil litigation held against him by the DOJ of the state of New York for literally not renting to black people. What they did is they would send in quote unquote testers to his rental properties at the time. They'd send in a white person. The white person would ask the property manager if they had any available properties to rent. They'd say, yes, here we go, here's a housing application. Then they'd send in a black tester that asked the same question, and then they'd actually be denied. When this was investigated by the DOJ, the property manager told them that this was just a quote unquote order from the higher up, from this boss, from Donald Trump. And then they investigated Donald Trump, brought civil litigation against him, and they essentially determined that, he wasn't renting to black people, in which he then had to promise the DOJ that he was no longer going to racially profile in his housing application, and even had to put ads in the New York newspaper at the time,
So basically,
saying that he'd rent to black people.
So what you're saying is basically he's not renting to black people, but yet he employs a lot of minorities. He employs a lot of blacks, Asians, Hispanics onto his staff. So why wouldn't he be renting to black people? That doesn't make any sense. Also,
because it's an example of racism.
But also is an example that the Department of Justice is weaponized against people that do something in life.
Can you give me any evidence for that?
I'll give you evidence of that. Yes, I will, because Trump was political for a very long time. He made political statements. He was very unpopular with a lot of Democrats. He would say things that they didn't like, and they would go after him. He weaponized the Department of Justice,
but that's
just like they are right now. They're weaponizing the Department of Justice against him. They're using the government for their political power to go against him because they disagree with his political opinion. That's what they do. The Democrats have been going after him for years, even considering he used to be a registered Democrat. So I don't believe that Trump is racist whatsoever. I don't see that, because I see his employees. I've been to a lot of his properties in the past, and I know that he hires a lot of minorities. So I don't believe that to be true.
Okay, so your claim here is that, well, he actually didn't do what the DOJ accused him and held him liable for doing.
Yeah, but the DOJ says a lot of things that doesn't make it true.
If I finish real quick. So you're saying that the DOJ actually was unfairly persecuting Donald Trump, a political opponent. In the 70s, he wasn't running for any public office, so I don't know why you'd say that was a political opponent. But maybe we could look at a more intuitive example.
Well, he's made political statements in the 70s as well.
Okay, so your claim is that, the DOJ was unfairly persecuting him. Do you have any evidence of that?
If you go back, do you have any evidence why the DOJ was investigating him in the first place?
Yeah, because they had gotten...
No, there's no evidence. I mean, the DOJ has been an illegitimate organization for a very long time.
Okay.
So they make a lot of statements, but it doesn't mean that they're going to actually go through with anything. Nothing really happened at the end of the day. It was just a witch hunt at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think you have any evidence for the claim that it was a witch hunt. I think that at the end of the day, this is a conspiracy theory. I think that Donald Trump
Conspiracy theory.
Mind if I finish real quick? Thanks. So I think that at the end of the day, this is going to be a conspiracy theory. I think that the DOJ does this. That Donald Trump would perpetuate a lot of conspiracy theories. He did this with the outcome of the 2020 election. But let's look at another example that's not coming from like the DOJ or like the criminal justice system. We're like referencing like 2012 through 2014. Donald Trump said that because Barack Obama is black, he's obviously not a U.S.-born citizen. So therefore, he
did not say that he was black. He's not a U.S.-born citizen.
Seriously?
Let's talk about the birther movement, right? So I just have a quick question. Would you say trying to take
There was legitimacy.
He just said that Trump said that because Obama was black, he wasn't a U.S. citizen? Bro.
Questioning his birth certificate.
Questioning his birth certificate. What's the legitimacy there?
Questioning because his family came from Kenya. How is he running for president?
Wait, Donald Trump's mother's a Scottish immigrant. Should we question his birth certificate?
They came here through the legal process. He didn't come here through the legal process.
Wait, so you're saying that Obama's parents were undocumented migrants? One second, I just want to clarify this.
Disqualified him as president.
I just want to answer a question.
Which would have disqualified.
I want to ask you a question.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who I'm friends with, looked into the claims of that birth certificate, and there was questions of whether it was falsified.
I don't like
Wait,
this.
So there was a
you actually
forgery.
believe that?
Yes, I do believe that.
Okay, so you were racist
Yes,
just like Donald Trump.
I'm not racist. Wow, you're calling a Hispanic and a Cuban racist.
Do you mind if I take 30 seconds here? All right. So first of all, yes.
Another white liberal. All right.
All right. Want to start where you guys left off?
Yeah, I think that hopefully we could slow things down a little bit here, have some productive conversation. So, how about I just start off by giving you my reasons why I think that Donald Trump is
This
racist.
kid is
So,
such a
with the last guy, we
disingenuous,
kind of touched on the civil
douchebag.
litigation that was held against him in the 1970s for not renting to black people. But I want to focus upon a more like intuitive example, proponing the idea that Barack Obama was not a U.S.-born citizen. So first, I just want to ask you a very simple question. Would you say trying to take away opportunity from a black man because he's black is racism?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yes, I do believe that.
Okay.
But I think we also have to look into what the administration when he was in office did, not what happened back in 1970 when he wasn't even in office and it was a complete different administration making the rules.
Okay.
When he was in office, he gave opportunity zones, gave funding to HBCUs. He also implemented the First Step Act, which I feel like liberals really focus on, like, oh, our prison system has a majority of African Americans in there. So we gave them an opportunity to get out early, to start a new life. So I think if we're going to go back and look at some stuff of the 1970s, that's not really fair, because there's a lot of people on the Democrat side that have done worse things while in office. Joe Biden, who when he was a senator, pushed to get African Americans incarcerated at a higher rate. Like, actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. And what Trump did in office helped the black community at an exponential amount compared to all the other administrations on the Democratic Party.
Okay, so you're saying what he did in office helped African Americans more than other administrations.
Yeah.
You referenced historically black universities.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much funding he sent to HBCUs?
A decent amount. I can't give you the exact
So the
number.
exact amount was $250 million per year.
Okay.
Do you know how much Obama's administration and Biden's administration have sent?
I would like to hear.
Obama sent $1 billion a year, and Biden sent $4 billion a year. So not only did he decrease funding to historically black universities, all right, but also you referenced the First Step Act there. How did Donald Trump?
They're saying Obama sent $1 billion a year to HBCUs? That seems like a really wild statistic to me, if I'm honest about it.
Influence the First Step Act to get passed?
Through Congress.
Well, how did he influence that bill through Congress?
Answer that question for me.
Because he didn't influence it. In fact, it was proposed to Congress under Obama's administration, and it was shot down. Then something else I did want to
But at the end of the day, as president, he has the ability to sign or send a bill back to Congress, and he signed it. If he was truly racist, he would not have signed it in the first place.
Okay, but
at the end of the day, he still signed it. He has that ability. Just like every president before, if they don't like a bill, they have the ability to send it right back to Congress, and there's congressional means to get it passed without the president's approval. But still, he signed it. If he's really a racist, why did he sign it? in the first place.
Yeah, well, I don't think that we could just ignore Trump saying that Obama isn't a U.S.-born citizen and he's probably from Kenya, right? I don't think that we could ignore.
But
like,
here's the
do you mind if I
thing,
finish here, sir?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think that we could ignore the civil litigation against him in the 1970s for not renting to black people. I don't think we could ignore his recent comments about Kamala Harris saying that she turned black, implying that she wasn't black prior, just because he signed the First Step Act into law. Like, I understand that does do something for the African-American community, but I don't think we could say because he did this one thing that all of these other examples are null and void. You also referenced Joe Biden there. I have no problem saying that Joe Biden has a racist past. And in fact, I think that's something I need to recognize and we should all recognize. But what I can't stand is when I hear people denying Trump's racism, saying it never occurred when it's so obvious.
But at the end of the day, what I'm
This
trying
kid has rehearsed this in the mirror over and over and over and over and over again. It's like there's some sociopathic thing going on with this kid. I'm being serious. Like, yeah, well, and he's obviously mimicking Destiny, like, obviously, but I don't know, there's something off.
trying to explain right now is that Biden has signed bills into law, voted for them that hurt the community. Trump has not done anything to that extent. Sure, he says some things were maybe a little bit iffy way back. You're citing things from back in the 1970s that did not even have like that. He couldn't even like sign a law or anything like that because he wasn't even in office.
Okay. I guess where I want to start with is looking at the actual word racist. I think nowadays it's a word that people throw around kind of like the word love. It is a very powerful word. It has a lot of negative connotation. It has a lot of power that comes with it. When I think of racist, I think of Hitler, who murdered millions of Jews. When I think of racist, I think of the Ottoman Turks that murdered 1.5 million of my people. I think of that. I don't think of Trump, who maybe he said things in the past, this or that. If we want to go about talking about saying things, Biden said Obama is one of the first mainstream blacks to be bright and intelligent. He said that you can only walk into a 7-Eleven if you have an Indian accent. He has said that if you vote for Trump over him, you're not black. He said so many of these things in his past, and the prompt is talking about, is Trump racist? But to me, it's not about that because of how the media has displayed racism. They just focus on Trump, and it is about both sides. They don't touch upon Biden. They don't talk about Biden. And when you look at his policies, like my friend mentioned, if Trump was a racist, he would not be passing policies. He wouldn't even give $1 to these black universities. If he truly had this, it's an intention of the heart. And I'll go out and I'll step out and say, I'm sure everybody here has said something racist in their life. That doesn't make you a racist. It's kind of like if you weigh 400 pounds and you eat celery, you're not skinny. All these examples that you're talking about are from years and years ago. What has he done that's racist in the last maybe 5-10 years?
10 years ago, 2014, Trump was actively proponing Barack Obama's birther myth, the idea that he was not born in
But
the
you already
US.
said that example. Give me something new, because that's...
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're asking for something in the last 5 to 10 years. That was 10 years ago. I thought that I'd just go over that again.
Okay.
Another reason why I wanted to go over that again with you is because how intuitively racist it is, right? Denying or saying that a black man should have less opportunity because of the color of his skin is very obviously
Literally
racist.
When did
not
he
what
make
he
that
said.
comment?
Yeah, so the whole birther myth with Barack Obama, right, essentially hoped to achieve that he wasn't born in the U.S., he was born in Kenya, and because he's not a U.S.-born citizen, he shouldn't have the opportunity to run for U.S. president. The only reason he said that is because of the color of Barack Obama's skin.
But
I would like
has
to-
he explicitly said he said that specifically because he's black, or are you just taking that assumption?
Okay, so what else? What explanation do we have here?
I've said everything I need to say. I'm waiting on you.
Okay, so I mean, well, yeah, I think that looking at Barack Obama, saying that he was born in Africa and then even denying his birth certificate from Hawaii, still like attributing his birth
God.
to Africa, I don't really see any other explanation apart from that, besides the fact that Barack Obama has black skin. And then another example
That's
from
also
like,
a comment. That wasn't a racist action. That was a comment.
Okay.
What action has he taken part in the last 5-10 years that have been racist against not even just blacks, against other races.
All right, first, I don't think that we should call like African Americans like blacks. I think that's a dehumanizing word. But second of all,
Your opinion, but
We shouldn't call black people black.
Second of all, right?
What?
Even if we look at like the last month or two, I'd say that saying Kamala Harris, right, quote unquote, turned black, implying that she wasn't black prior. That's another racist comment. We could also reference that as
because
debate.
she plays with that. One day she's Indian, one day she's black.
That's not true.
Hello.
Howdy.
Very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well.
So, you're looking back
Oh, here
at
we
Donald
go.
Trump's history.
Here
One
we
thing I
go.
do want to say,
Oh,
I don't know
God.
if you are
Shoot
aware,
me now.
Palm Beach didn't used to let African Americans there. Donald Trump sued the city of Palm Beach to allow black membership at Mar-a-Lago. That is not racist. I think one of the problems that we have a lot on the left, every time there's a disagreement, we get thrown, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're this, you're that. And it dissolves the discussions that we should be having on policies. Secondly, Donald Trump worked with Senator Scott to create opportunity zones in black communities. If he was truly a racist, it's not something that he would do. So I think the whole premise is he's a racist, he's a sexist, takes away from policy positions that we should be discussing. If we go to the border and we talk about rapists and murderers, yeah, they are happening. Laken Riley is now dead. We have 300,000 missing migrant children known sold into the sex trade, per the last IG report. These are important issues. Our economy is important issues.
You mind if I ask you a question?
Absolutely,
Are you a U.S.-born citizen?
100%.
You are statistically speaking 4 times more likely to commit a violent crime than an undocumented migrant. So
Oh
when you
my
kind
They
of
shouldn't
virtue
be
signal
here.
on behalf of that.
They shouldn't be here.
Okay. All right.
And and my husband's an immigrant,
Okay, yeah, but
a
that
legal
also
immigrant
okay.
who came here legally.
Okay, I understand
We've
that
got
you wanna-
100 ISIS in our country right now that was reported. We've got gotaways. We've got Tende Deragua. I've interviewed Oscar Blue, who's been through the Darien Gap 4 times. People are dying.
Okay, so you're saying that we have a crisis at the southern border.
Well, I'm saying that you're saying that
Yeah.
Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump loves America.
Okay. Well, first of all,
And
I
he
want
puts
to
Americans first.
I want to ask you one simple question first, and maybe we could get back to the prompt. Do you think that we have a crisis at the southern border today?
100%.
So you'd say that we also had a crisis at the southern border at the end of Trump's term because we have the same amount of
Actually,
daily
we have
crossings
the low.
today than then?
No, we do not have.
Yes,
the
we
same
have
amount
about
of crossings.
2,400 crossings
no, that is
today
not true.
than as we
That
had
is
at the
not
end of
true.
Trump's
We have
term
up to
after Biden's executive order.
14,000 crossings a day. The Biden-Harris administration put us back into what's called the Global Compact of Migration. They are now using an app where they use our refugee resettlement program to fly people into our country to different states. So for you to say that the Trump administration that did not have catch and release, that is not, and Biden put it back in. And then we also had Remain in Mexico, which on day 1 of Biden's administration, he wiped out.
Because it was ineffective. I mean, we could
Oh,
look
it
at,
was very
Do
effective.
you mind if I talk real quick?
Oh my God,
It's
this kid
just
is so
propaganda.
fucking
It's what
annoying.
you've heard from
This kid
CNN
will
and
interrupt you
MSNBC.
anytime. Well, can- please let me
Actually,
talk.
how about I
Reclaiming
provide
my
you a source
time.
that isn't CNN, isn't MSNBC, and it's actually a source from Donald Trump's rally. So remember when Donald Trump got shot in his ear? What did he have behind him?
It was the chart that showed the lowest crossings in
Do you mind
history.
if I talk about that chart?
I
So
have the
on
chart.
That, on
Should
the,
we bring it out?
You have the chart with you?
Yeah, I do.
Bring the chart out.
Can you hand me my purse, someone?
Like you have like an actual picture of the chart?
I do.
Phenomenal. Let's look at the chart. She's prepared. This is great.
There we go. Trump voter walks right into
Oh,
it.
it's on your phone. I thought that you had like an
Well,
actual.
it's a picture. We can hold it up to the camera if they want to see it.
Okay, well, I mean, well, maybe we could just reference the data on that chart. So you're referencing the Remain in Mexico policy. So that was one of Donald Trump's day ones. He only had increasing border numbers until the day he signed Title 42 into effect. Year by year, they only increase.
Is
The
that
Remain
why
in Mexico policy, the wall, it was all incredibly ineffective border legislation. He couldn't get Congress together to pass anything, so then he had to reappropriate
That's
DOD
not
funds to
true.
build the wall.
That's not true. Congress passed H.R. 2. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk since May of 2023. It was the one bill that would secure the border. Border Patrol has endorsed President Trump. Law enforcement has endorsed President Trump.
Okay.
The Biden administration and the Harris administration have failed this nation, and they have allowed this invasion of our country, and Americans are dying. And sorry, these gang members should not be here.
I have a question. So, would you say we had an undocumented migrant that was like a felon, a sexual abuser, right, a violent offender, that they shouldn't be allowed in the country?
100%. None of these people should be without process.
Okay, so my question to you would be, well, then why do you want a criminal, felon, sexual abuser to run the country?
Because I believe that we're suffering from an extreme case of lawfare, which I can prove. And, you know, when you look at, let's take, for instance, the New York case, the one that he's going to probably go to jail for, even though he's not guilty.
The 34 felonies?
The 34 felonies that they changed the statute of limitations in order to prosecute him.
Oh,
that they
no, you have your
changed.
case is confused. So they didn't change any statute of
Oh,
limitations?
yes, they did.
1 second.
Oh,
I
yes,
know what
they
you're
did.
referencing. If you'll just allow
Oh,
me.
yes, they did.
You'll just allow me.
But
30
not
seconds.
only
Do you mind if I
that-
just have 30 seconds? Real
Well,
quick?
we only have 40 seconds left.
I just
so
want to
no,
clarify.
You can't have
They didn't
30
change.
seconds. You've got the seat the whole time.
Okay, we have 35 seconds left. What were his felonies for?
Okay, so let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the plain and simple fact that they moved the number 3 from Biden's DOJ to a state case. Let's talk about the fact that Mark Pomerantz, who worked in the Biden administration, basically pled the fifth 6 times when he said that he was talking to Bragg. And he would not talk about that. Alvin Bragg ran on getting Trump. Let's talk about Judge Merchant's daughter, Laura, who's making millions for the Harris administration and the Biden administration
even care
right
about
now
this anymore.
in order to prosecute
This lady's
Trump.
annoying. I
That
want her to
is
go away.
recusal. It's going to get dropped at the Supreme Court. Alvin Bragg should have recused himself. Judge Merchant should have recused himself.
I like your power. My next claim is Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people.
Oh my fucking god.
I completely disagree with you on that.
I
That
don't
Trump
like this
doesn't.
guy. This
You're saying
guy's
he doesn't
awful.
care about the American people. I mean, while he was president, he was pushing
Would it have been impossible? Is this what this show does? Is they bring in one of these debate bros and then they just get a bunch of incompetent people around them who don't actually know what they're talking about? Is that what this show does? Or is this just like a special edition?
economic policies which were furthering the American economy. I mean, right now, if you go to a gas station, you're paying more money to fill up your car. Going to the grocery store, you're paying more for meat, you're paying more for groceries, you're paying more for a lot
I'm
of
a bit
things.
of a
Taxes are
sadist.
higher
Or is it
right now.
masochist?
So why
Taxes are higher right now.
Masochist?
We're still under
I'm a
Donald Trump's
masochist.
tax code.
That's it.
we're not completely? No, that's not true. That's not true.
Yes.
Because each individual state can impose their own taxes.
Federal
I'll give you.
taxes from the
I'm going to
federal
give you. I'm going to give you an
federal tax
example. In
policy.
Los Angeles County, they passed all these other measures, increasing quarter-cent sales tax here in Los Angeles County. And what do they do with the money? They misuse the money. They don't even use it to fix the streets. They allocate all this funding towards the homeless, billions of dollars, saying they're going to build all this,
cares?
all these shelters. They're going to build public housing, and yet all the money goes to administrative costs. It goes into the pension system. So they're misusing the money. They're not using the money to actually help people. So
Who
if you think
cares?
about someone that's going to help people, Democrats have been promising people in the state of California that they're going to do something about the problem. Yet they have unlimited power here to do whatever they want. But yet we have thousands of homeless. The LA Times reported that there was 66,000 more homeless people in the last 7 years. That's the LA Times.
Yeah,
That's a
I
liberal
agree,
magazine
Charwick.
quoted there's 66,000 more homeless people in Los Angeles
Mind
County.
if I ask you a
alone.
question?
Go ahead.
So I have like a lot of reasons I'd like to bring up here why I'd say that Trump doesn't care about the American people, but you referenced his economic policy, and we could reference that. So yeah, can you name like one economic policy that Donald Trump influenced to get passed that benefited the low and the middle class more than it benefited the top 1%?
Well, first of all, the Democrats pass all these policies.
Wait, just about Donald Trump. Can you name one policy he influenced to get passed that benefits
There
the
it
low and the
is.
middle class more than it benefited the top 1%?
Yeah,
while
he
he's
tried to, or
president?
during COVID, he tried to keep businesses open. I mean, Democrats were trying to close down all their states.
Can you
That
name a
put
policy?
Businesses that
Sorry.
they put, no. They put a lot of businesses out of business during COVID. During the past years that COVID was in existence, all the states that were liberal, Democrat-run states, have controlled a lot of the process here in the state of California. Like,
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
You
In the state
didn't
of
answer my-
California-
I'm so
In the
sorry.
state of
You didn't
California,
answer my
Gavin
question.
Newsom, in the state of California, Gavin Newsom shut down the state. Ron DeSantis did not shut down his state. Yet you have
Come on, get those
businesses here that
flags
were
up.
small, that went
Someone
out of
else.
business. Yet you have the state of Florida, the majority of businesses stayed in business, did not go out of business. The only businesses that went out of business, that stayed in business, were corporations like McDonald's, Burger King, and Walmart.
Okay,
so,
sir,
and
with
by
all-
the way,
with all due
and by
respect,
the way,
you literally
and by
didn't
the
answer
way,
my question.
The Democrats were benefiting those businesses because they were voting in favor of them.
Okay, with all due respect, you literally didn't answer my question. I asked you to name a policy that Trump influenced to get passed that
But yet
benefited.
you're the one that called me racist earlier, so I'm supposed to answer
He's
you.
having so many
Okay, well, I mean, if
feelings.
you don't want to have a productive
Oh,
dialogue
God,
with me
this guy's
here,
making this kid look
I don't
good.
see what your point of even showing up to the episode would be.
Well, productive is not calling someone racist either, right?
Here we go.
Howdy.
Oh,
Hi.
George.
So maybe we could go about it this way. Can I give you my reasons why I'd say that he doesn't care about the American people and get your thoughts?
Let me, if you don't mind, let me start.
Okay.
Is honestly, the question's dumb. The statement's dumb. Because
This guy's now a hero.
it's one-sided and it's an
Yes.
opinion on
Don't
what
fuck this up,
we
bro.
think he believes or he feels.
So this prompt says Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people. I would like to give you my
Now,
reason.
well,
why.
I'll actually answer the other thing you mentioned, a policy that Donald Trump pushed for that benefited low and middle income people.
More than it benefited the top 1%.
His tax policies. And I know this for a fact because I'm middle low income. And everyone I know that's middle low income, actually, I don't know that many. Everyone makes more money than me.
Okay. Do you mind if I?
No, the
mind if I hop in
the
here?
only people I know of that complain about Trump's tax policies are those that make a reasonably high amount of money. There is nobody I know that makes over like 200 something K that doesn't complain about his tax policy. So I don't know what you make doing this. It's probably more than I make. I kind of wish I did what you do to a degree. But if you're making more than 200K,
Can I hop in here real
then,
quick?
then I'm sure you can complain, but I'm benefiting and I make less than you probably.
Okay, so first of all, you said that Trump's tax policy benefited the low and middle class more than it benefited rich people. That claim is false. 83% of the tax cuts in the bill went to the top 1%, went to people making over $400,000 a year, and it cost the American taxpayer $1.9 trillion through debt-related spending, and it only is going to lead to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%. Please allow me to finish. Right? So it is the case that no, that didn't benefit the low and the middle class more so than the top 1%, and only is leading to a greater income inequity.
I don't believe you, and I don't agree with you, and I've
Okay,
seen
so that's
no
coming from-
data. I've seen no data to support that.
Okay, so that's coming from the Tax Policy Foundation. That's coming from, other economic sources that we would find online to be able to distribute how much it costs. Okay. So is it all right if I give you my reasons why I'd say he doesn't care about the American
Oh,
people?
she's back. No!
In 10 seconds or less.
Someone new.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like in order to have productive dialogue, right, we have to be able to distinguish why I believe the things that I
Yeah.
say.
Okay.
Why you
And then I'll
disagree.
let you know why I believe the things that I do.
This is the problem, and this has been my position for years, Milo. I've said many times that conservatives lose arguments with the left because they believe too much that they are correct and they will win, and the left doesn't care about facts and logic at all. And it's just like, and also the conservatives usually don't actually even know their full arguments. Like, they haven't actually thought it through. They give arguments that are really easy to disprove. So not only do they go in believing that if they just give the factual argument, that that'll prove them right and the left wrong, which never works, but it's also that the left usually knows how to counter their argument better than conservatives have even thought the argument through. And this is why they lose every single time.
Okay, so the reason I'd say that Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people is because he has incessantly placed himself above the American people. One of the best examples of this was in 2020 when he denied the outcome of the election and then he attempted to stage a coup against our government in an attempt to rig the outcome of the 2020 election by sending fake certificates of ascertainment to Congress to be certified as real. That was the greatest internal attack on our government since the Civil War. Another example would be the border. He has inconsistently placed himself above the American people in that respect. He torpedoed Langford's bill in the Senate that would have specifically brought an end to the crisis 2 years ago
you've got
because he didn't want to give the Democrats a win.
Let's slow
and then
down.
Another example.
Wait,
would
no.
be
Let's slow down because you just put out so much. And let's unpack that a little bit.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first thing that one thing I would like to say, does Donald Trump care about the American people? Donald Trump went to East Palestine. Joe Biden waited 6 months. Okay?
Okay.
Donald Trump went to the military families of the soldiers that were killed at Abbey Gate. Joe Biden forgot their names. Donald Trump went and visited the people whose families were killed by migrants that were criminals. Joe Biden won't mention their names. Donald Trump let me, an average American citizen, go to his house 3 times.
Okay, do you mind responding to my reasons why?
Okay, let's start with reason 1.
Cool.
Every election in history has had challenges, including Bush v. Gore.
Okay.
There have always been alternate electorals. I believe that January 6th helped Democrats well more than it ever did Republicans. You know why? Because it stopped the debate on the floor. And I, as a Republican, wanted to see that debate on the floor that day. I had problem with the elections. In 2022, my son's vote didn't arrive and I was a candidate.
Okay, I just want to clarify. So you do affirm that Trump sent fake slates of electors to 7 different states?
They were not fake. There's always alternate slates of electors in every single
That is not
election.
true. That is not
That
true.
is true.
That is not true.
That is true.
Could you
I
give me
worked on the Ron Paul campaign
Is it possible?
when you were like 5.
Is it possible that
This
you...
has happened
Okay.
all the time.
Okay, yeah, could you give me another example of a
That's
sitting
actually
US
funny.
president not agreeing with the outcome of the 2020
I
election,
worked on the
then going
Ron
to the
Paul campaign,
DOJ?
you
Trump told Bill
whippersnapper.
Barr to announce widespread voter fraud when there wasn't any.
They didn't investigate it. They didn't investigate
So do you
it.
know-
Every single
They did.
case
They
was
did. There were
every
63
single
court
case
cases.
that were dismissed on standing.
Because they didn't have sufficient evidence. To
No,
prove that it occurred.
because the judges said they never saw the evidence.
Hang on.
Okay, I'm going to
They
go to
never
tell you what
saw
happened.
the evidence.
This is how you know this kid is a sociopath. Does anyone have a guess about what I'm about to say? And if you watched the video earlier, if you watched the debate with him and Nick last night, this will make more sense. Do you know how we know this kid is a sociopath? These are exactly the same arguments he used with Nick. Word for word, verbatim. And so it's like this kid has practiced these arguments over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in a mirror to do this. And there's just, again, there's something real, and I know maybe that's not the technical definition of a sociopath, okay, granted, but it's kind of like there is something completely contrived and created about this kid, and it's coming across like a shell of a person that has molded themselves into this thing. And this thing is not good. This thing is obsessive and autistic and quite frankly a little ridiculous and doesn't care about the truth and doesn't listen to other people. And so I'm just getting really creepy vibes. And it's odd to me to watch someone who literally verbatim, hand motions, inflection, everything, used exactly the same arguments, which means that none of it's real, none of it's authentic. He doesn't care about any of this. It's just a game. It's a chess game. It's creepy.
2020 election. So
Okay,
Donald
well,
Trump
you're
formed
going to
his
tell me
own-
what you think happened, but I'm going to tell you that you're wrong.
Okay, one moment, ma'am. Donald Trump formed, right, an election integrity committee where he appointed his people and gave them millions
And
of
what's
dollars.
happening
You mind
now?
if I finish?
No, I do mind because you
Okay,
know
ma'am,
what?
if you can allow me to
There's-
finish, we
there's-
can't have a productive conversation
Well,
here.
we can't have a productive conversations when you have an entire 20 minutes and filibuster the whole thing.
Okay, well, if you want to
So-
talk, go ahead, but you're not allowing me the time
Okay,
to
but you're-
demonstrate why
you're-
I believe in what I do.
Okay, but you're not allowing me to say basic fact of what has happened in this instance. Every person that runs for election has the opportunity to challenge an electoral process. That is not illegal. What's happening now is you've got attorneys that were looking into the election fraud, which the Biden DOJ is now prosecuting, having their law licenses removed. We are watching communism in live action. And you know what?
God.
I want you to have a future.
Can you define communism?
No,
Yeah, basically it's mob rule. It's Marxism. It's mob rule.
No, 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 no. Why is this happening? Why? Can someone please go give me a shot of whiskey or something? I mean, I don't have any whiskey in my house. I don't think. Oh, hang on. Hang on. I have the solution. Wait, I have the solution. Do you guys remember when I got vanilla vodka for the DNC? It's still sitting right here on my desk, the leftovers. Hang on. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Cheers. Nostrovia. Nostrovia, motherfuckers. We'll save the other one for later. All right. Let's listen to conservatives fuck up the entire section about communism.
False. Literally all wrong. Communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society.
Okay.
He's right. Communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society. True.
Welcome in. Doing all right.
Trump's administration versus Biden's, objectively 2016 to 2020, and then under Biden so far up to date. Objectively, the economy was better under Trump. Inflation was as high as, I believe, 9% under Biden. It's destroying the middle class, and then it's also putting people in more poverty. So how does that make Trump not be in support of American people? If it's breaking down the middle class, putting people in more poverty.
Yeah.
So things in the grocery store are 4 times higher to pay for. People are having harder time to put food on the table for their families.
Yeah.
During the Biden administration versus Trump. So I want you to
of course.
explain.
Well, let's start off here. Do you think that the Biden-Harris administration caused inflation?
Yeah, because under Trump's administration and the policies he induced, inflation was never that high.
Okay.
And then after COVID hit and Biden's administration took over, everything skyrocketed. Gas prices, grocery stores, everything.
Your argument here is because it happened in the country while they were president, they caused it. So my question to you is, did Donald Trump cause the highest rate of unemployment that we've had since the Great Depression in August of 2020 at 14.8% simply because it happened under his administration?
No, simply because people couldn't leave their home, which was, causing people to
and now we're introducing external variables. So in the same way COVID caused, that high rate of unemployment that we had under Trump's term, COVID also caused the global inflation that we saw onset at the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration. This didn't happen locally in the U.S. This inflation happened all around the globe. But a fun fact here, the Biden-Harris administration actually ushered in the quickest response from the inflation onset by the pandemic out of any other country in the G7.
I had another point, which was that.
Appreciate you for coming up, man.
What I've noticed, because I work in retail for some seasons, and I've seen a huge floodshot of Colombians coming in. Okay, we just got to be really realistic here about the economy. So yes, I think that kind of blaming causation and kind of correlating that to the current president, it's a little bit of a slippery slope. However, I think that when you look at the border and the way that everything has been coming in with migration, of course that the economy became better. Why? Because a lot of Colombians came in, right? And they started working and they started inputting more taxes. All these fake socials that they get, they start contributing to the tax money. They pay more taxes every year, and the government basically hides this by grabbing an app, and they basically use that as an ankle bracelet replacement so that people don't find out. Instead of putting an ankle bracelet on people's ankles, they hide the fact that they're allowing all these illegal immigrants come in.
So
the economy has become such a success,
on this
per your statement that it's been a success in the last 4 years, because all these immigrants have been contributing to the tax dollars that the government has been wanting. And so hence Medi-Cal.
So you'd agree that immigration is good for the economy?
The immigration issue is they're being paid less money than the average salary. So I don't understand how that's good for the American people. I think that if you can properly execute someone immigrating into this country legally and doing it rightfully and everything, like, yes, you can manage the amount of the
Okay.
amount of the way the economy is working.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit confused on what you just shared with me, but we have a problem, and that is
Okay.
undocumented migration, correct?
Yes.
This is another reason why I say Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people, because Donald Trump
Well,
doesn't.
if he cared
you mind
about,
if I finish?
Go ahead.
Because Donald Trump doesn't care about the southern border. I have a question for you.
Okay.
If your house was burning down
Wow.
and a fire truck showed
Oh
up to put
God,
the
here
fire
we-
out,
it's exactly
and you
the
told them
same
to turn
argument as
around
earlier.
because you wanted the insurance money from
Exactly
letting
the
it
same
burn,
argument.
did you care about your
This
house?
kid is a sociopath, confirmed.
Of course.
No. So the idea would be if you let the house burn down to get the insurance money, you wouldn't care about your house. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, right? So when we have a crisis at the southern border and we have the fire truck, or in this case, right, an amazing border bill that would have ended the crisis years ago, proposed to Congress by Langford, a Trump endorsed Republican, and then Donald Trump turns around and calls up the Republicans in the House and the Senate and tells them to vote against the bill because he doesn't want to give the Democrats a win, and he wants the ability to be able to campaign on the crisis at the southern border now. Does Donald Trump care about the
Okay,
southern border?
So right. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to attack and kind of deflate the right? But at the end of the day, we got to realize that no side is potentially perfect, because clearly the Democrats are going to see that the right are horrible and the right's going to see that the Democrats are also
But do you mind answering that question there? Because I did make an important point there that I don't think should go unnoticed, right? In the same way, in the hypothetical, if you let your house burn down and told the fire truck to turn away, you don't care about the house. And if Donald Trump lets the crisis at the southern border continue and tells like the Republicans in the House and the Senate to turn the border bill around in 2022, he doesn't care about the
I don't
southern
think,
border.
Look, the border's always going to have a crisis. There's human trafficking constantly. If you look at the narcotics, if you look at all these drug dealers that are coming
They're like,
in,
no,
right?
no more of this. Good, the black guy. Good.
Hi, thanks for coming up, man. What's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan, nice to meet
Look how
you.
nice
Dean.
he is to the black
we have
guy.
3 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock here. I would like to bring up a huge reason why I'd say that he doesn't care about the American people. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool. It's because how much he lies. Donald Trump
Oh my
is an
God.
incessant, unapologetic liar. He lied to the American public over 30,000 times while he was president. He told them.
Guys, someone said this to me earlier. This is representative of the average Democrat. You know, sometimes I think about my friends from the before times. What I mean by the before times is before I woke up to the fact that the Democratic Party was ridiculous and left. And I used to have a lot of friends who were Democrats. I worked in higher education for a long time. I had a lot of friends that worked for colleges and universities. And every once in a while, my old friends, they pop up on my social media and I reminisce about my friends from the before times. And I'm like, they sound like this. This is what they sound like. I still remember when I was told that I needed to go to anti-racist training because if I didn't, I was racist. And I was like, what are you talking about? You were normal a week ago. And they're like, no, you need to go to anti-racist training. I was like, what the fuck? I remember when my friend, who I'd known for years as a woman, suddenly announced she was non-binary. I was like, that's weird. And all of a sudden we had to wear stickers to tell each other whether or not we wanted to talk. I swear to God, this was a real thing. There was a conference we all went to, and they instituted a policy, my friends did, because they were on like the leadership of this conference, that you had to wear a sticker to tell people whether or not you wanted to talk to people at a conference. And if you wore a red sticker, that was to mean you were not to approach them. And if you wore a green sticker, you were open to, and I was just like, what the fuck? Have we lost the ability to be people? But we had. Because all of my friends, I've been experienced with the stickers since like 2018. And this is what they were like. And this is real. I know this is not as scary as socialism. I get it. But this is real. This is what most people on the left are like. And this is why we are irrevocably fucked. Because how can we be expected to communicate with these people? How can we be expected to communicate with a person like this? There's no possible way to communicate with a person not like this guy. Hang on, not like
Biggest
this guy.
lie that any sitting president
Not
has
him.
ever told with the denial
Not
of the
him.
2020 election. And what is the key?
Him. We cannot be expected to communicate effectively with this person. It's just not going to happen. He's not interested in communicating with us. He is representative of the broader left. He doesn't want to communicate with us, which means we can't communicate with him, which means we're going to be in a perpetual state of going like this our entire lives for this obviously gay leftist who doesn't want to admit that he's gay and wants to pretend that he's having sex with girls when he obviously isn't. We are so fucked.
Achilles tendon to a democracy, an uninformed voter base. Trump has misled his voter base, has made them misinformed, has made them engage in fringe conspiratorial hearsay by his incessant lies.
Okay. Can you give me any reasons why you think Joe Biden cares about American people more than Trump?
Okay, I mean, yeah, sure. First of all, Kamala Harris is running for president right now.
No, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, sure. Yeah, because Joe Biden...
Just the Democratic...
Of course. Because Joe Biden passed 4 pieces of monumental legislation that benefited the low and the middle class more than it benefited the top 1%. We could talk about the PACT Act, investing $800 million into the expansion of VA healthcare benefits. We could talk about the CHIPS and Science Act, bringing 20% of the global chip production back to here at home in America by 2030. We could talk about the infrastructure bill, investing $1 trillion into local communities across the U.S., spurring their economies and creating new construction jobs. Or we could talk about the Inflation Reduction Act, investing millions of dollars into renewable energy resources to reduce inflation in the long term by addressing supply chain issues now. Those are...
I think this should emphasize just how much of an asset Nick is and how stupid conservatives are for not embracing Nick. Nick dismantled this kid like not even trying that hard. There's a room full of how many conservatives there, they can't dismantle this kid. Nick did it.
There are 4 big policies that I would say demonstrate Biden's care for the American people.
Okay. 4 years ago under Trump, did you see benefits going towards immigrants and wars more than American people?
Did we see? No, and we don't see that now either.
Oh, we don't see it now?
No.
Bro, I moved here from Chicago, and 4 years under Trump, I wasn't seeing immigrants sleeping outside of police stations, gathered in gangs and doing drugs outside police stations, living in high-rise hotels, getting benefits.
Oh, if you're just there's more immigrants coming into our country now than there was under Trump's term. That's true.
But earlier, didn't you say it was the same?
Oh, no. I said it's the same right now. So after Biden's executive order on the border, we have the same amount of daily crossings today across our southern border as we had at the end of Trump's term.
At the end of Trump, it was more.
Yeah, it was the same or more at the end of Trump's term.
You literally just said we have more immigrants coming in now.
Okay, so over the 4-year presidency of Biden and Harris, there has been more migration across the southern border because of the revocal of Title 42, causing a surge of entries into our country. After Biden's executive order...
That was not going on during Trump. Am I right?
Yeah, right. So we had lower crossings under Trump, but I don't think we could say because there's lower crossings under Trump than under Biden and Harris that Biden and Harris caused that. Let me ask you a question, or more so make a statement. I'd look at the southern border like a river, and I'd look at Title 42, what was enacted at the end of Trump's term because of COVID, like a dam. As soon as that dam is lifted from the river, the water gushes through, just like when Title 42 was reversed and all these people that have been turned away for the last 2 years that are coming to our country because of economic disparities onset by COVID in their own, rushed into our country.
Okay.
Oh, God. No, not that guy
Sorry,
again.
I just had to very quickly. The one thing that I look at that shows how he cares for the American people is that he's a multi-billionaire that chose to run for president, and he's one of the only presidents that's net worth has actually gone down. If he didn't care for the American people, why would he even go out of his way, lose his worth to run for president?
Great question. And here's what I'd say. I'd say that Donald Trump has billions of dollars, literally speaking. He doesn't care about money. He wants something else. He wants power, right? And being able to force himself into the highest position of ranking power in the world is a big deal. And that's what he wants. He doesn't really care about the American people, or else he would have enacted legislation for the low and the middle class, or else he would have not tried to over...
Hey, before we go any further, We want to take a moment to say thanks
Socialist
so much
tattoos.
to Straight Arrow News for
Socialist
powering the fact
tattoo.
checks in this video. Straight Arrow News is an app and
care.
website that is
I don't care.
with
Don't
bits
care.
of main gives us
Don't care.
.com/channel
Don't care.
new unbiased. Now let's get into it.
My next claim is Kamala Harris would be a much better president than Donald Trump.
Oh, here we go. All right. That was also another topic he tried to debate with Nick.
I don't believe that Kamala Harris would be a better president than President Trump. And the reason why I believe that is because Kamala Harris has had many chances. When she was a district attorney in San Francisco, she convicted more people of minor crimes than any other DA of San Francisco. And I know this too because I lived in San Francisco for a period of time, and I understand the criminal justice system to a certain extent. So Kamala Harris, if you have her as president, she's going to go after people for minor offenses. She's going to try to convict people for even marijuana, for an example. I mean, come on. Most people in this country have already been past this whole issue with cannabis and everything. And I think that's something that now that should be overlooked, and it should be something that should be legalized on a federal level as well. But I do believe that Kamala Harris, if she convicted people of small petty stuff like people having minor amount of marijuana and had the highest conviction rate in San Francisco, how can you have someone like that as president? And she also was married into the Getty family. Jean-Paul Getty is that is an elite family in the state of California. So how is it that you're gonna say, oh, Kamala Harris is better than President Trump?
Of course. First, let's respond to a couple of your claims there. How many people did she convict? Not a clue. 45. And what did she do in 2014?
45. You're saying she convicted only 45 people of possession of marijuana?
Yes. And what did she do?
That is not true. That is not true. That she convicted only 45 people of marijuana. If she was a district attorney and she had other DAs in the district attorney's office,
do you mind if I finish talking?
Prosecuting those small crimes.
Okay, sir. Do you mind if
she had more than 45 convictions in that office alone.
So yeah, she only had over.
You've had a lot of time to talk. I mean, you had the whole time. I really don't have a lot of time here. But so what I'm saying is,
I just want to be able to finish this point out.
Go ahead. You're
without
45 convictions, but you're not giving me facts.
Yeah. So while she was DA, it is a.
Someone else. Thank you. New
Welcome
person.
in.
Oh God, woman.
Hi.
Oh
Hi.
no. Oh no.
Do you mind if I give you my reasons why I think that Harris would be a better president?
If you want.
Cool. So there's two main categorical reasons why I say Harris would be better than Trump. The first category is character. The second category is policy. Let's start off with character. First of all, Trump is a sexual abuser. Trump is a felon. Trump is a fraudster. Trump is an election denier. He's a dictator on day one, wannabe fascist. Okay?
I wish.
Kamala Harris is none of those. Kamala Harris wants to protect and preserve a democracy. She wants to
One in
fight
the
for the
chat if
freedoms
you
of
wish
all
Trump was a
Americans,
fascist.
especially the 170 million American women and girls. And then we could reference policy next. If you want to respond to character, go for it. If you want me to hop straight into policy, I could do that too.
Well, starting with character, I technically do not think she's a good person. Speaking of which, if we're bringing up stuff from the past, we can say she slept with Willie Brown, broke up a family just to get her job. And while she was there, she used a firm that was putting people in jail that had false positives on drug tests. And she knew they had false positives. She admitted to that. And she was still putting mainly black and brown people in jail, considering I'm both. That is very much a big issue for me. And also that a woman shouldn't represent, they should just sleep to the top for their job. They should actually work hard for it. I generally don't think that she's a good representative. There's plenty of other women out there.
Yeah, I have a question. How many votes did she get in a run for AG? Do you know? No, how many votes did she get in a
We're
run?
talking about character, though.
Of course.
That's
We'll talk
character
about
and morals. And if we're mentioning character and morals here, she's clearly not a good person.
I'm responding to your
just
claim.
like you had mentioned all that stuff about Trump, which could be true.
I'm
She's
referencing
an
your claim that
adulterer
she.
and a family.
I'm
wrecker.
referencing your claim that she slept to the top. How many votes did she get when she was running for AG and DA in the state of California?
But that has nothing to do with the fact.
It does. She got 4.5 million votes in total. 80 million for her run for AG or DA. I don't remember which one. And then 4.4 million for the other one. I have a question. You're saying that she slept her way to the top. How many of those 4.5 million people that voted for her did she have to sleep with?
Well, obviously we're in California, and this is pretty corrupt. But to say that she needed the votes of most people that matter, which is the person she slept with, could actually overturn and hide these votes just like they did with the election. But
listen,
we're not gonna get too
the
far
idea
here.
that women have to sleep with men to get into positions
And
of
that's
power
exactly what she
is
did.
a
It's exactly
misogynistic
what
lie.
she's exonerating.
One moment.
She's saying that
do you mind if I finish
that
talking real quick?
we have to open our legs to get jobs. That's exactly how she used it.
Do you mind if I just finish talking real quick? Also, I would like to finish out this conversation. There's a lot of red flags up, though. So saying that women have to sleep with men to get into positions of power is a misogynistic lie. What
I
you are
didn't say
doing?
that. She just
one
did
moment.
that.
One moment.
That's what she represents.
What you are
That's all I'm
doing?
saying, guys.
What you are doing is you are taking Kamala Harris. You are taking her character. You are taking her proposed policy. You are taking her intelligence, and you're taking her wisdom, and you're throwing it out of the window. Because when you say that the
You did the
only
same thing
reason
with
she's
Trump.
in her position of power today is because she slept with a man that had been legally divorced for 3 years is a lie.
didn't.
She got
She slept with him
4.5
while
million
he was
votes to get into
married.
AG and DA and slept with 0 of them. The question I have for you,
Oh, you don't
is
know
how
that,
do you feel
though.
about Donald
Do you know
Trump?
that? No.
Okay,
Absolutely
so
not.
you think that she slept with 4.5 million people to get in her
she
position of
could've,
power?
But the one
Wait,
person
are
that
you
she did
serious?
was the most important person.
Did you just say that she had to sleep with 4.5 million
No,
people?
I didn't say that. I said that she slept with one of the most relevant people to get her job.
What was his
to
name?
get in. Willie Brown.
And how
I
did
just said
sleeping
that.
with Willie Brown get her the 4.5 million votes in a run for AG
Because
and DA?
he was in the same position she
Beyond
needed to get.
But we have civil electoral processes. We are a constitutional
honor
republic
this?
with democratic processes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Someone else. No more women.
And you're saying that she somehow circumvented these civil electoral
no more
processes?
women allowed.
I don't hate women, guys. Just letting you know.
No, someone new. Someone new. Good.
Welcome down. I would really like to see if we could have a productive conversation about this point.
Well, I just want to start off by saying that you seem to attack Trump for his character, but then when Kamala is attacked for her character, it doesn't matter.
So why do you think that Kamala Harris is a bad person?
For reasons that have been stated.
Can you repeat them?
Oh God. Here it
She's
is.
slept with people to get up to her ranking. She hasn't really done all too much as vice president, in my opinion.
I would like to say that is false. She's passed more tie-breaking votes in the Senate than any VP in American history. She's
not
also
because
helped the
of anything she
Biden-Harris
did.
administration influence some of the most monumental legislation in modern U.S. history.
Right.
I'm going to name 4 pieces of legislation that the Biden-Harris administration influenced to get passed that benefited the low and the middle class more than rich people. And I want to see if you could do the same for Donald Trump while he was president.
When do we get to the communism part?
They influenced the PACT Act, the Chips and Science Act,
So I'm
the
getting
American
tired. I
Rescue
kinda wanna
Plan,
go to
the
bed.
Infrastructure Bill, and the Inflation Reduction Act. If you'd like, I could explain to you how those benefited the low and middle class more so than the top 1%. But now I'll just simply ask you that same question. Can you name one bill that
took a
Trump
shot of
influenced to get
vodka. They
passed
didn't even talk
that
about
benefited the low and
communism.
middle class more so than rich people?
It was wasted.
I really can't.
So then how could you say that Kamala Harris hasn't done anything when you know so little about what Trump did while he
Because
was president?
comparatively to what Trump has done in the past, she really hasn't done that much.
I just told you 4 pieces of monumental
You told me
legislation that
that-
she did influence
yeah.
to get passed that were beneficial.
Beneficial, but not quite to what Trump did.
Well, you can't even tell me what Trump did. I asked you. You
I
couldn't
know,
tell
but
me.
you can just tell from when he was president that it was just
Oh my
it was
God,
way
why
better.
is
And
this
Kamala's been
person
hiding
debating?
and probably puppeteering
Come on.
to
Why is
Biden.
this
Like
person
you can't
debating?
deny
This
that.
is
Do you see how that's
awful.
just a conspiracy theory?
I know it's a conspiracy, but it's the evidence is kind of there.
Okay, so what's the evidence for this idea that Biden hasn't done anything for America?
Sorry. Okay.
That's smooth. You just kind of slid
Thank
into
you,
the scene.
thank
That
you.
was good.
I think a lot of what we're hearing from you right now is just what I call book smart. Like you probably
Yes.
are more knowledgeable than a lot of this. A lot of us on these policies and all that, that's not necessarily applicable to real life living. If we look at in my opinion, one of the most important roles as a president is to keep our country safe. Kamala Harris, she's the border czar, and she has completely failed at that. She's let in millions and millions of illegal immigrants. And you've been asking us a lot of pointers, so I want to ask you, do you know what the average amount of fentanyl per pound that has come through during Biden's administration versus the Trump administration?
No, I'd assume that it's much higher under the Biden-Harris
It is.
administration. Do you know what amount of drugs processed across the southern border are processed by U.S. citizens?
But I'm talking about illegals right now. So I asked you a question.
Okay.
So during Trump's administration, there was on average about 2,500 pounds of fentanyl that came across the border.
Okay.
In my opinion, that's 2,500 pounds too much.
Yeah,
During the Biden and Harris administration, it's exceeding 14,000 pounds per year. Where do you think that's going? That's going to our youth, that's going to high schoolers, college students, that's going to adults. These innocent people are dying because of what is happening.
I
And
agree.
if you look at her, what I think it was just this past month, they just admitted that they have lost over 300,000 illegal children. Where do you think these children are going? They're trafficked. And I'm extremely passionate about human trafficking. I think it's one of the most important focuses that we need to have right now. And in my opinion, again, and in my experience within human trafficking, the conservatives are the ones pushing this. Kamala is ignoring it. Kamala is not the one going to visit the border. She went and visited the border. She went to the only part of the border that is safe, that they're not coming through. And she said, we don't have a problem here. Nobody's coming through. That's BS. She's lying, and you say Trump's lie. I hate all kinds of lies. But when you can say Trump's an avid liar, you got to look at how Kamala's lying. During her speech at the DNC last week, she was saying that those individuals at January 6th were armed individuals with an intention of shooting people in the Capitol. That is not true. So I can admit where Trump has lied in the past. Everybody lies. That's not good. But you also need to have the balls to admit where Kamala has lied, where Biden has lied, where their administration has lied.
Yeah, so first of all, I think that it is important to hold all politicians, everybody in a position of power accountable. I'm not going to sit here and say that Biden has never lied a day in his life. I'm not going to sit here and say that Harris has never lied a day in his life. I, can't confirm that Harris said that at the DNC or said that at the southern border.
It was
but
filmed,
if she
so.
did say those things, yes, those would be lies. Now, you want to talk about this.
Wouldn't that be a question of her character then?
Yeah, of course. But what I'm voting for here isn't going to be the candidate that doesn't lie at all. It's going to be the candidate that would lie less within this respect, and no one lies more than Donald Trump.
So
now,
why
back
do
to
you
our
believe
conversation.
that? Why
Can
do
I
you believe
respond?
that character affects somebody's, impact as a leader?
Yeah, sure. Because I think when we're voting for someone, when we have a leader, right, this isn't just someone who's going to
All right,
try to
I need to
impact
fast
our
forward.
lives in
I
good
need
ways
to-
through politics.
We need to get a move on here because I need to go to bed tonight, and I can't listen to this kid all night.
Vote.
Someone said something about a woman. Oh, is this? Are we talking about communism now?
Hello.
Howdy,
God,
welcome back.
I don't like
Well,
her.
okay, so you keep bringing up the border and you keep bringing up the Senate bill.
Langford's bill, absolutely.
The Senate bill never passed.
You want to know why?
What did pass was H.R. 2, which again has been sitting on Schumer's desk, which actually closed the border. Talking to Brandon Judd, president of Border Patrol, what I can tell you is the Senate, like, as it was.
I only care about
Right.
communism.
You, well,
Don't want to hear this woman.
You were-
Let's see, border.
Serves as a savior for for family units that are
Border stuff.
otherwise be able to be an anti.
So, on one hand, I kind of agree with you because I don't think that the average conservative cares about family enough. But I
conservatives
would
care
say
about
that
family
conservatives
values, okay.
care a lot more about the family unit than liberals and then people on the left, especially like it was brought up when it comes to the pro-life issue, when it comes to promoting the whole LGBT, like all of these things are generally
Not her.
anti-family, and liberals are also generally very individualistic, while conservatives have always been more on the side of conserving the family unit.
Okay, I would strongly disagree that liberals are going to be more individualistic. I mean, if we just look at Trump and the policy he passed while he was
that's true.
president, can you name one policy he influenced to get passed that benefited the low or the middle class more so than the top 1%?
Come on. No. Hang on.
I don't know when I'm speaking about
fast-forwarding
individualistic on the terms of economics, yes, I would say conservatives are more individualistic, as in we're not socialists, we're
Is
not
it
wanting to redistribute wealth.
socialist?
Yes.
Do you know?
But-
Can you,
oh,
real
here
quick,
we
can
go.
you define
Socialism.
socialism for me?
When I'm speaking about
The
socialism,
abolition
I'm
of
talking
private
about
property.
the redistribution of wealth
No.
and like promoting
No.
the welfare system.
Wrong.
Okay.
That's
So
not what
I mean,
it is.
socialism
No.
is just a mode of production. So it just has to do
No.
the workers owning the means of
Wrong.
production. The only reason I'm pointing this
Wrong.
out is because I feel like
Hey, Chief
MAGA,
Jumpster.
Republicans, conservatives
Good to
as a
see
whole
you.
have really misconstrued
Wrong.
socialism, communism, etc. But
Oh
one last
my
question
God.
for you.
Shut the fuck up.
Here, you said that promoting the LGBTQ plus community is anti-family. How so?
True.
Because
Because
for
queer.
instance,
hang
I mean
on,
conservative.
Hang on. How is the LGBTQ agenda anti-family? Pop quiz for the chat. And I want you to be specific in your answer. Because there is an answer to this. There is a correct answer to this. And because conservatives don't actually listen to the left, they don't usually know what the correct answer is. But my audience knows what the answer is. How is the LGBTQ agenda anti-family? Pop quiz in the chat. Because the whole goal of queer is to abolish the gender binary. The gender binary is men and women. They believe it was created by capitalism. The gender binary also created the nuclear family. Give me more. What is about destroying the gender binary? What queer? The Q in LGBTQ, which is queer, which is not a gender identity, which is not a sexual orientation. You do not have to be gay to be queer. You do not have to be trans to be queer. You can be a straight white man and still be queer, because queer is not a gender identity. It is a political affiliation. Queer wants to abolish the family because they see it as a mechanism from which capitalism reproduces its ideology in the next generation. Because of queer erasing the gender binary gets rid of the nuclear family. They're trying to destroy social reproduction theory, correct? Because social reproduction theory is the idea that social systems will reproduce themselves until they're disrupted. Therefore, the family is the reproduction mechanism of capitalism. So they have to destroy the family in order to destroy capitalism. Queer wants to abolish the gender binary because it wants to solve the problem of social reproduction by abolishing the gender binary to abolish the family, which upholds capitalism. See, if conservatives ever actually listened to my videos, they would be able to go on shows like this and just fucking kill it like they've never killed it before. But no, they don't listen, because they don't listen to the left. They don't listen to people who are hinged into reality on the left. They only listen to their commentators who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Queer is against normalcy, which upholds capitalism. Capitalism is reproduced by the nuclear family. Queering the binary means attacking the nuclear family, which upholds capitalism. Queer is a far left political ideology. Queer is about erasing the gender binary. You erase the nuclear family, which is the ultimate form of private property. Very, very good. Well, the individual is the ultimate form of private property, but the family is made up of a group of individuals. Why do I sound so bossy? Because it is my channel, motherfucker, and if you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. This is my private property. You're in my house. If you don't like it, go. Now let's see how the conservative answers.
And people on the right have more.
They don't even get a chance to.
Okay.
Well, we answered.
Sorry. Hello, sir. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too. You've been excited to come up here.
Yeah, no, this one. I think this one's interesting. So first, I also wanted to know why you think Democrats are better at supporting family values than conservatives.
Of course, great question. So first of all, we look at this from like an economic perspective.
Hey,
I'd say
guess what?
caring
You
for
just
low
got
and middle
kicked out of my
class,
house.
promoting like social benefits. A good example would be the child tax credit. Kamala Harris wants to raise that to $6,000 for every
I
newborn.
think they're going to vote me out soon. I'm going to make my point, then they're going to vote me out. I'm going to go. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I think what's really interesting, and I wanted you to bring it up, but I'm just going to bring it up again. You were talking about when to start a family. I think that's really interesting. I think the choice to start a family is when you have sex. Personally,
for fuck's
and
sake.
you know, someone will probably be more informational than me about this, but I think that having sex is when you take that risk, if you want to call it that, take that risk of starting a family. It's your responsibility to become a parent, become a father or mother.
Where do they get these people?
And I think, I forgot what it was. IVF, is that what you said?
Where do they get
that
these
helps,
people?
Is that with help with abortion? Is that correct?
No, IVF is in vitro fertilization, right? This allows, right, certain like
Oh
partners
my
who wouldn't be able to
God.
conceive like naturally to still have a child. And I would like to respond to your claim there about this idea that engaging in sex is when you commit to starting a family.
Sure.
That's a great reason why I think conservatives don't actually care about family values.
Okay.
We know that our youth will continuously engage in intercourse. We know that we will see people that do this for fun outside of the context of wanting to start a family. I'd say, right, pushing the traditional value that, you know, sex leads to a kid and you're obligated to that, you have to deal with the consequence, right, is antithetical to caring about family values, because when you do that, you force unwanted children into unready households.
I had more.
Okay.
Howdy.
Hi. So the claim that you're saying about conservatives not caring about family values, let's kind of backtrack a little bit, because Donald Trump himself, I think he's kind of a new wave of republicanism, and a lot of people kind of seem to forget that. So conservatives, yes, the old Republican Party, they did see that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I gotta go to bed. I'm done. I can't. I know that I cannot expect Jubilee to pick competent people to discuss right-leaning positions. None of us should have that expectation at all, because it is what it is. But I just don't think I'm asking too much. That if conservatives sign up to go on a show like this, can they please do some basic debate prep? Can they please not have the hubris to think they fucking know everything? To actually maybe, I don't know, take the time to listen to other people, to understand what arguments they're going to make, to not look like raging fucking retards on the internet? I don't like this kid. Not him. Not him. Him. I don't like him. I don't like him. I think this kid's going to be a pain in the ass. And he's annoying. And he's going to continue to be annoying for a long ass time. And I really do think he might be a sociopath. Whatever. Best of luck, not gay Dean. I'm going to bed, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.